Well, the Premier League returned over the weekend. First game was Friday. We had a busy Saturday and Sunday, and already there's been plenty of talking points. Myself, Aidan Perkins and James Mason going to talk you through what we think have been sort of two or three of the biggest stories since the Premier League has returned. And we're going to start with Chelsea, James, because they've got off to a dismal start, losing 4-0 against Manchester United at Old Trafford. I don't think too many people saw that result coming.
No, not really. I mean, in the first 45 minutes, Chelsea were actually pretty good, and they passed up some opportunities. And again, there's the whole, should he have played the younger players? I mean, Tammy Abraham got the nod ahead of someone like Olivier Giroud on the bench, who is a proven goal scorer. Mason Mount played as well, leaving the likes of Christian Pulisic on the bench. So I think there's decisions Lampard has made. Be interesting to see whether he now opts for a bit more experience at the weekend, or whether he continues to stick with the younger players.
I mean, actually, they weren't that bad, Chelsea, especially in the first half. And I think Lampard said afterwards that he thought for the first hour of the game that they were the better team and controlled the match. And they did have chances in that first half. I think they hit the post. I think Tammy Abraham hit a really good effort against the post. Other good chances. And there was an argument to say that they were the better team, even though they found themselves behind.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. The first half they were good. The second half, that's when it turned. There was probably a little bit more for them to do. And there was still the issue, there was a few mistakes at the back from Chelsea. I mean, Kurt Zuma didn't have his finest game for them. And still, he's a player that's got a lot of potential, you'd say, but he needs to kick on, I think. So there are questions that Lampard has to try and answer, and quickly. If he doesn't get off to a good start, like he hasn't, but if he doesn't start picking up some points or wins somewhere, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him.
You can now get around about 3-1 on Chelsea, finishing in the top four after that first day defeat. That's where they want to be, Chelsea. Whether or not they're going to do it remains to be seen, of course, over the rest of the season. Going to switch our attention to Liverpool now. They were in action on Friday in the first game. They also got a good win, 4-1 against Norwich City. But maybe the big talking point to come out of the game is the injury to Alisson, the first choice goalkeeper. Picked up a calf injury. Liverpool have said he's going to be out for a few weeks. Get the feeling it's going to be a bit longer than that, maybe a month, possibly even 2 months, and that's a blow for Liverpool.
It is. I mean, Alisson was a very, very good buy for them. He was crucial to their success last season, and losing him, yeah, I mean, they've got a good backup though. I mean, the Spaniard Adrian, who they got on a free transfer when his contract expired at West Ham, so I don't think it's that much of an issue for them. Of course, they had the big win over Norwich. I don't think it's that difficult a start to the campaign for Liverpool, so I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, a little bit of a worry for me that Adrian isn't as good as Alisson. Alisson is very, very consistent, and you just think that maybe someone like Adrian's got more of a mistake in him than Alisson. And Liverpool know that they can't afford to make probably any mistake. Well, they might be able to lose one game and still just about be in the title race, but they only lost one last year against Manchester City, and they didn't win the league. So you just worry from Liverpool's point of view that if there's one mistake maybe from Adrian that costs them a goal or costs them a game, that could be something that they'll look back on, and they'll hope they get Alisson back as soon as possible. And our final Premier League talking point is about Newcastle, James. They seem to be a club that are often in the headlines, but it's not always for matters on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, a war of words between Charlie and Benitez, and it's who do you believe in this instance. I mean, Benitez stayed there for 3 years. He went down to the Championship, even stayed on then. So I think he's got a good sort of relationship with the fans, but obviously he was let go in the summer, and the war of words, Benitez now saying that he didn't trust the Newcastle board to deliver on their promises. And you probably say who can blame him really, because over the transfer windows that he's been there, he's been promised funds to spend, and he hasn't had any money to spend really. I mean, since the summer of 2017, of the 3 promoted sides that went up, Newcastle have got a net spend of 100k. It's absolutely nothing in today's market. You're not going to get a player for that money.
But they did actually spend some money in the summer transfer window that's just finished.
Yeah, they did. I think it was around 65 million pounds they spent. I mean, 40 million was on one player, which is Joel Linton. They got in Alan Saint-Maximin as well. He was around 20 million pounds. But there's a little underlying issue, because a lot of that is money they've got back from players. So Jose Perez went for £30 million, and you think that stat I mentioned before, the 100k since 2017. Well, Alexander Mitrovic went for around £28 million to Fulham. Where's that money gone? Benitez wanted to improve the infrastructure of the club. He wanted training facilities. He wanted, the youth to be invested in. Charlie's come out and said, well, we need to invest in the squad. Well, where was the investment in the squad earlier on in Benitez's reign? If you'd done that consistently across the windows, they wouldn't be in this position.
Yeah, obviously Benitez is defending his exit and trying to explain that to the fans, and also Charlie is defending what Newcastle did over the summer. They're both sticking to their guns, as you would expect. By the way, round about 7-4 on Newcastle being relegated this season. So the Premier League is back and plenty of talking points already. Don't forget you can follow us on social media and you can subscribe on YouTube.